A lot of designers have now gone and done that.
They stalk our Instagram page and
I'm
put all
sure
the
they
things.
do.
We were the first Indian designer to have a store in Gramercy Park, creating unique, original product.
Yeah.
I need to mention this word.
So like if I decide to have a small wedding and I want to go crazy and I want to have a Frida Kahlo wedding,
You
go
can
for
do
it.
that.
Right?
Yeah.
I love watching every day some new brand on Instagram has come up.
Yeah.
It's very hard to keep up, but still love it. So I know you're a shopaholic. You're an impulsive, compulsive shopper. So I want to know what are your like last 3 Instagram brands that you have shopped without doing any kind of Reiki, any research. You've seen it and you bought it. Do you have any of those brands?
So, you know, it's so funny. I am very afraid of online shopping because a weird OTP comes from sideways and then some. So everybody knows this about me. So I'm a WhatsApp shopper.
Oh, okay.
So I do see the brand on Instagram or whatever.
Hmm.
So Ogan has actually helped me discover a lot of new brands.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Ogan is, master
so
of
like
it.
I think I discovered Reek there.
Reek.
And then I know you're going to make fun of that.
I am going to make it.
I knew the
I'm
story.
waiting for you to say it.
I knew the story was going to come. So I was at Curato and it's a menswear store. And I love Tanisha. She's also one of my young
Curato
friends.
is great, yes.
Okay, so
Curato is
my
great.
3 musketeers, which is Prachi, Raniwala, you and Tanisha. My 3 baby friends. So Tanisha was like, I was like, I love this pantsuit and can you get it? She was wearing it, sorry. She was wearing it.
Okay.
And I saw her at an event. I said, I just ordered it for me. You have my measurements, whatever.
Yeah.
And it came and I loved it. And I think I know the correct.
You don't.
Dota KK.
Okay,
That's correct,
good.
right?
That is a far out, like on point versus what you told me in the car
I was
when
like,
you were describing it to me. For the viewers, please note, Payal was telling me we were talking about this organically in the car, where I was telling her, so what's going on, and she was telling me, I love this new brand and I bought this pantsuit, and I don't know the name. It was something like Chappad Fadke. I died laughing. Like I think we had tears in our eyes.
I think Priyanka was on the floor of the car.
I was.
But the beauty of this conversation is not how dumb I am.
I know what the
The
beauty is.
beauty of this conversation is that I said pantsuit, I said checks with these patches, and she goes Dota KK.
Yeah.
That is Priyanka for you.
That was.
And I was like, how did you figure that out? From me, they're calling it Chappar Bharke.
But I mean,
I was just mad.
I swear I wanted to reach out to them and say, listen, we couldn't get this on video, but now we do, and this is amazing. But they're doing some great work. So
They're doing great work.
So
I love these younger designers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not young designers, but I love Human.
Yeah.
I love, like, I've named all the designers, and I love KG and DK and Sid and all of them. They do fab work. And to me, like I said, right now, labels are not coming to me because also there's so many labels which are much smaller, which I can't remember their names. But I'm just saying, to me, it's become like, because I'm not a WhatsApp, internet, like I find buying online stuff in India very difficult. Okay. I used to shop online in America all the time. Also, I like to try stuff.
Okay.
I get it custom made for me. So that's why I like to have someone I'm in touch with, like a sales rep.
Someone who can help you out personally, like a chat.
Exactly.
And those chats are not counted, the ones where you have like a little WhatsApp thing and you can do a live chat.
No, not
you
that.
can't count
I mean,
them.
like a store manager.
A store manager.
Or whatever.
Got it.
So that's why I love, like that's why I discover a lot of young, really fun brands at Ogan.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I'm here, so my thing is I don't get time to shop. So I'll end up shopping at my own events. So it's a week at my event, I'm out at the other stores shopping, or when I'm traveling, But in traveling, I don't get to see new Indian designers. But when I'm at an event, whatever events I'm doing, pop-ups I'm doing in India, is when I discover new brands.
Right.
So there's so many,
There's too many.
Grain.
Grain is actually awesome.
Yeah, super.
Grain's
super
quality is
stuff.
also very, very good.
Yeah.
But no, so this is great. I just want to know now, coming to stylists. Okay, this is a very interesting sort of part of the industry for me, because I felt that if anything I could do, I wanted to be a stylist in a magazine. And I don't know, I've done everything in the fashion world. Like I've worked from whatever different jobs. That is the one thing I've still not done. Though I have styled for people or for events or whatever, all that I've done, but never a magazine job where, I felt like I'm going to put like 20 looks together and that'll give me some satisfaction. But tell me, for you, if you were not a designer, what would you do?
Styling as a job sounds very glamorous. It's not.
I know.
I started my career as a stylist.
Really?
I was a stylist at MTV.
For the MTV, yeah.
I was styling Maria Goretti, which is why she's still a very dear friend, Nafisa Joseph, who sadly no more, and Malaika Arora.
Yeah.
I did it for about a year. And see, that's when I truly knew I wanted to be a designer, because I hated it.
Okay.
I absolutely hated it. I felt I was a glorified peon. Okay.
Oh.
And unless you're not putting creativity into the styling job, which only our top stylists are doing right now.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to get there, okay, to be able to dictate what you want. Otherwise, you're pretty much less like an assistant
grabbing things
to
from
going
there.
to designer stores and picking up clothes based on the taste of the celebrity or the whatever. Yeah, fashion magazine jobs are great because that's where you get to be creative. But there's just such few fashion magazines. To get to that editorial level, you have to pound at the pavement and put in those years to get that top job. You're a fantastic stylist, and I can say that to you, because every single look that you put together, whether it's when you wear PS or any other designer, or like you can put together like a Janpat top and make it look like it's from Hermes, right?
But I'll tell you what, I love that. That concept is very close to my heart. Not to take cheap things and make it look expensive, but the fact that you do not have to wear expensive things to look good is a thing that I stand
and you actually don't have to follow the designer's vision.
You don't.
And again, I don't want to name anybody, but when I see people, including with my brand, sometimes like completely, it's very flattering to see someone copying your campaign and all that.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah, but that doesn't excite me. What excites me is, at every event of mine, I walk up to every single girl and tell them, I love what you've done with the styling. I love what you've done with the style. Because I genuinely, you put my vision. So like I said, I realize I'm not a stylist. Even today, I hire stylists for shoots and shows because I'm like, you do something with my design.
Yeah.
You have to understand where your core strength is.
Yeah.
I style my own self now. Yeah. But my styling cannot be for every show, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that a stylist is someone who puts something together in a unique way.
Right.
Again, if you're going to copy somebody else, like, hey, to answer your question, if I was not a designer, I don't think I'd be a stylist.
Okay, but what would you be? What would you do?
I would be an event planner.
You would be very good at it, but then you take too much stress also.
Yeah, that's why I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
and there's too little money for me.
No, but I mean, your PS 25 dinner, like 25 years, by the way, big congratulations on that. I don't know if I've already congratulated you, but 25 years in the industry and your dinner was amazing. It was just so well curated.
It was such a simple, humble dinner. But
okay, you call it that, but not in our eyes. Like for us, it was a treat. Okay, not just the food and not just but like the whole styling of it. Again, coming back to styling, I think that, listen, big events or small, eventually how it makes you feel is what you walk away with, right? You agree with that. So I feel like that's how I felt. Like I didn't realize whether it was 5 women or 50 women.
Yeah.
And there may have been more. But what I remember is when I got that seat on the table next to the most amazing tribe of women, this tribe that you've built over time, it takes time to build it, right? It's not like something that just school ke 5 friends or whatever. It's like full on people who are behind you and they will like sing songs for you without you being in the room. That's what a tribe is. So in that dinner, I felt like right from the table mat, which I want, to the butter candle that was from Seva, right? Seva did those candles.
Seva created it especially
for us. Oh my God,
Yeah.
butter candles that and I was eating the butter candle and I was just like, can I eat this? It was unreal. I think that dinner was so well styled and you styled it. I think you should make a career. In fact, an event.
It's my dream.
You should do weddings.
I want to, but again, intimate. So I think what I realize is what I love is creating special moments. And Priyanka, you're also very good at that.
Yeah.
I think some of the
nothing compared to you.
Culture comes into us that we love entertaining, we love gifting.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that my goodie bag was epic.
Oh my God, it was endless. It was a bottomless pit of gifts.
Because we had done a very quite elaborate goodie bag for PS 20 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is 25 years.
It needs to top
beat that, right?
Yeah.
So I created, so I'll tell you how this works. So like I said, if not design, I definitely would love to be an intimate event planner, to be specific.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's about the planning for me. The event is not just about the space, the decor, the food, the, you know, whatever. I think it's about the creating the feeling, what you just talked about.
Yes.
And that's why I need it to be intimate. Like I need every guest to feel special.
Right.
Everyone who was in that room was thought about.
Yeah.
There was nobody in that room that I did not want to be there.
Yes.
So, you know, a lot of people just kind of fill these rooms with content creators, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I just had a few of them who have been with me in my journey from day one.
Yeah.
And who have supported me from day one.
Yeah.
You know, when they were starting their careers, and we had some of the top journalists there who again have supported me and seen the brand from day one. And you know, honestly, none of these are like any. There's been no like kissing up to anybody.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Mutual respect.
Absolutely.
You know, with everyone from the writers who were in the room, like the editors and the writers, to the celebrities who were in the room.
Yeah.
They're like, we have family dinners with them, you know, we are there for their Christmas dinners, their weddings, you know, what
like you built that tribe.
Yeah.
And Shibani's wedding is like a testament to what you can do with events, right? Because I know that you styled your entire.
Because she's a friend, not because I was an event planner.
No, but I'm just saying, like the fact that you could do that to pull that, it's not easy, right? Like even an event.
Yeah, but it felt like fun.
It felt like fun, because you love doing it.
Yeah, I love doing it, and the dinner. So yeah, to be like, you know, we can keep talking. So
that would be a.
I would say event planning is something I would love to do.
I also want to talk to you about something that is probably a touchy topic, but something that needs to be addressed is copying styles. I mean, your choli. Do you have a name for it? What is it called?
So we call it the Zendaya choli.
The Zendaya choli.
Because it was inspired by Zendaya.
Rightly so. Body. I mean, that body now comes in some 100 ways.
Yeah.
And you can do it in 5 million ways. Yeah. Because that's the beauty of the PS brand. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that choli is now getting copied. Your embroidery patterns, they'll never get it right. But, you know, like if there are 3 dots here and 3 dots here, I can see that in the market that, you know, people are copying it. Fun prints combined with lots of tassels. What do you feel about that? How would you address it? Is there something that you would do that you think you can do to stop it? Like, tell me your thoughts on that.
Gosh, you're right. This is a topic with so many emotions. So as you know, we evolve as people.
Yeah.
And till very recently, I would say, I used to be very triggered by this. Because, you know, you have to understand as an artist. See, I am an entrepreneur. I am a fashion entrepreneur. But I also happen to be, you know, many fashion entrepreneurs who don't design.
Right.
Right? Like there are big brands today, which have great turnovers.
Fashion businesses.
They're fashion businesses, but they're not the sole creator of everything that goes out, right? They may have a point of view or an aesthetic. Now, for me, I am creating this like literally from thin air.
Right.
Okay, like this idea is an idea, and then it is becoming something physical. It's like an art. It's an artist.
Yeah.
To have that be copied feels very personal. It feels very intrusive. It hurts at and all this flattery and all that people talk about now is the best form imitation, best form. I honestly, maaf karo, please don't flatter
you don't
me.
You don't want to be flattered.
Not
you just
at
want
all.
to be
Hate me, don't like my stuff is better. You know, it's brides go to, you know, maybe home designers, copy it, and then they tag saying wearing Payal Singhal. They tag me.
Which is, I think
it's really painful.
That's
really
the painful
silly.
part.
And, you know, I'm not going to lie. I've been that big baby on Instagram and I've fought and I've posted and I've told brides that untag us. And my team also has been on it and all that. And all that. But you know what? Today, I have a much more magnanimous point of view. I have grown. I'm 48 now. I mean, I got to grow up, okay? So, and stop having these playground fights with people. So, I now, honestly, I don't think of it as flattery. That's not changed.
Okay.
I still think it's extremely disrespectful, but it's not on me, it's on them.
Yeah.
Okay? That disrespect, I'm not going to stoop down to their level anymore.
Yeah.
And my only thing is, I own it. So like I read this or I watched DVF's Diana's one interview where she said that the wrap dress is mine.
Yeah.
So at every show, she would show the wrap dress to establish that the wrap dress is originally a DVF, patented.
Yeah,
concept.
I mean, it is when you think of DVF, you think of the wrap dress.
Yeah,
so,
and the wrap dress comes out every season in a different print and a different color, but so that's what we're going to do, boss.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go buy as many fakes as you want, but the PS brand is going to bring out an original Zendaya silhouette.
Yeah.
With different embroideries, different finishings, different tassels, different shararas, different bottoms every season. Okay, that's going to happen.
So Payal, you know, I've seen so many of your shows. All your shows, if I am there present physically or I'm seeing it, catching it on the internet, everything looks really hunky-dory and glamorous and cool, and you want to be on the front row and all of that. But as a designer, and you've done so many now, you've completed 25 years, tell me what's happening with you, the BTS behind a show.
Yeah, I wish people could actually be behind the scene. I mean, it's like manic. It's manic.
Oh my God.
I mean, besides the fact that before the show, for like 2 to 3 months, people think I just design and, ho gaya. It's like besides the source, first of all, the thought, the idea, and making the idea reality with swatches, fabrics, embroideries, making the the patterns, koras that we call, then putting the embroideries, colorways, that. Then getting it right, like you keep doing the silhouette and like you're changing it constantly, adding the tassel, removing it, putting it back, removing it. And even before the night, before the fittings, we have something
something comes up.
We do a lineup.
Okay, you do lineup.
We go into fittings that this is the order in which I want to present the garment.
Right.
Even while lineup is happening in the office, I change the garment. Like, for example, some lehenga is looking better with another choli. We mix it. And so, honestly, that eventually what you see on the runway is like something which is very instinctive and last minute, but it works, right?
But it works.
Now, on the day of the show, besides the fact that you have to be available for press, you have to be at the beck and call of your celebrities or whoever is walking for you, or actors, actresses, singers, musicians, whatever. You have to be calm and composed, which I'm not as a person. And you have to manage your team, make sure the steaming, ironing is going on of the clothes. The stylist is doing the accessories, last minute, this is not available, that is, my shoe broke. I mean, the list of things that are happening backstage and the list of things that can go wrong is bigger than the internet. Okay, I don't know how else to tell you this.
Oh my God.
I've had some amazing experiences, mishaps, drama. Like, you are sitting in the front of the house and there is like war going on at the back. Okay, they're screaming, they're shouting.
But what is one would think that you have all of this organized, right? Like, you're saying months of work has been put in, your models and all. I've seen it, like models and all get assigned before, during fittings and all. So what is it that happens? Like, what is it? Is it something of the organizer side of things, or is it on the side of like, your own personal sort of what?
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's like this, okay? It's like 100 moving parts, moving in 100 different directions, and they have to all come together for a 12.5-minute show.
Right.
From hair and makeup to the model and her mood, to this assistant who's dressing the model, to the backstage helper, to the backstage director, to the sound and light guy, to the DJ, to the usher at the entrance who'll usher. You name the thing that can go wrong, and that thing has gone wrong. In my debut show, my showstopper's boyfriend went out for a smoke and he couldn't get back in and sit in the front row. And she wasn't.
Oh my God.
She was not talking to me at the press conference. But a few years back, where the show was supposed to start at 5 p.m. and till 4 p.m. we didn't have the makeup artist to start the makeup for. We had about 30 models.
Wow.
We had 5 influencers flying from all over the world and 5 real women along with 20 models walking for us, because they had double assigned her a show and she had not finished the hair and makeup of the previous show. So at 4 p.m. we had to start. Once Alicia Raut, I love her as a model, has passed out on me in the wings, painted on me.
Oh my God.
And I told her, you're not going on the runway. And I've taken her backstage and she's pushed me and said, your outfit cannot be wasted. And she has walked, come back and then passed out. This is the level of anxiety that's going on behind.
But what's the deal with, like, I hear you and I feel you also, but I want to know accountability, response, but like, who is, like, what happens there? Like,
I mean, honestly, I just said there are 100 moving parts in 100 different directions.
You just don't want to say, do you?
I can't say. You know, it's honestly, we have a lot of young people entering the industry. Work ethics are, you know, the kind of work ethics we have, where we really like learn to, you know, put in the hard work, pound the payment. I don't see that in the younger generation.
Really?
Sadly.
Okay.
I don't. I think it's a more of a like an entitled kind of attitude. I see it all across the world. This is not India specific. We have, everybody is a diva in our country. You know, I just we met someone recently at dinner who said she did a shoot internationally, and she just loved the experience of working with those models, because here you'll have like, oh, my time is up and this, and you know, I'm, you know, my lunch break is. I'm telling you, first of all, I'm not talking about one show.
Right.
I'm giving you.
You're giving me a culmination of the whole thing. Correct.
Pulp of all the 25.
Right.
I mean, most of them have gone off. So what you see is this. I know. Okay, this is all I'm talking about: management and coordination problems.
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I didn't. At the end of, like, you know, like, someone asked me once that how do you feel once the show is over? I feel like going to sleep after the show is over. I don't want to talk to anyone, I don't want to meet anyone, because the amount of overstimulation that happens, because, and the amount you're thinking, there's only after Tazi, which was my 25-year anniversary show this time in Delhi, was the first time in 25 years after a show, I went home and I finished the show and I smiled because I was happy with everything. Everything from Shreya's performance to Vidya's closing,
it was amazing.
Model to the styling to the backstage to the help. It, for the first time in 25 years, it fell into place. And I got others after every show, and my husband knows this. I'll be like, the music was too loud at this point. That outfit ka dupatta fell. That tassel was a little too left, not right. That person tripped a little bit. Like, you are only seeing the flaws, you know. But the calmness you see in the front is a complete contradiction to the back.
Crazy.
And yes, it is more chaotic in this country. I'm not going to say no. But let me tell you one thing. It's not perfect anywhere else in the world.
Right.
It's as mad.
No,
backstage.
It's quite manic. Like, I know that I've volunteered for some of this stuff.
Exactly.
So it is crazy. But
at New York Fashion Week and all, I've known people backstage. And I know what drama there is.
It goes crazy. But I feel like the hair and makeup situation can get really bad. Like, if you're saying she's not ready with the next, and I mean, that stuff is just...
It's also, again, you can't, there's nobody to blame in the situation. It is just what it is, and you got to make it work. And we had Natasha Moore, who was walking for me, and she started doing makeup for people. She's a makeup artist, a celebrity makeup artist. And she is a friend of mine. She's flown in from LA to walk for me. But she finished her own, and then there were other 5 influencers who had flown in from all over the world. She started doing their makeup. I mean, you gotta make it work. You gotta make it work.
But that's so interesting to hear, because I think it's very cool to walk in and take your seat, and you know. And the models too. I mean, like, kudos to them. They look amazing, but they also, like you're saying, somebody's passed out, but she's like, okay, listen, I'm gonna walk, come back and pass out. It's a lot of work.
You know, Priyanka, in this 25 years. I'm very happy to say, for all the people who've copied and all the people who have been naysayers and all the people who have created trauma and drama, front of the house, back of the house, threatened in meetings, there have been that many wonderful, amazing, supportive creative,
people.
Talented, selfless, encouraging people I have met. And that is why I am where I am today.
It shows. Like, we were talking about how our company is still like a family-held company. I mean, I'm sure you're getting, you know, like, approached by investors and bigger companies to talk about how they can come in and change your game, and, you know, and how they'll, like, you know, make you soar the skies. So, like, tell me some stories about that.
So, you know what?
Is there something happening on the horizon? Is there something?
No, nothing right now. And I think I've blocked it with my own manifestation, because I don't want to do something until I'm sure, right? So right now it's like in pause in my mind, and whatever I think and feel happens in my life, and I'm a firm believer of that. So it's in pause, and I'm absolutely fine. But I'll tell you what happened. And one of my first interests in our company from an investor was a one-man meeting, and I was extremely afraid in that meeting, because I was being like kind of threatened that if you don't do this, this will happen. I was like, I mean, that person scared me off for life, you know. And that's what's taking me again a lot of time to build courage. It's like suppose you go on your first roller coaster ride and then the
oh
this
God,
thing goes off. You don't never getting on a roller
true,
coaster
true,
again,
true.
right?
No,
So,
true.
but anyway, that cannot be everyone's experience. That was a one-time experience. But I mean, I think a lot of kids and a lot of young designers feel that that is only the next step, and that's only if I'm going to be considered like I have arrived. And that's only no, it's not.
It's not. It's okay to just be like.
There are many international fashion houses which are family run
right.
or self-funded,
right.
and that's okay.
That's okay.
You need to. It's everybody needs to know why they are doing what they're doing,
right.
and no two businesses are alike.
Right.
Like no two brands are alike. Right. I'm very proud to say that in 25 years, initially I used to be wanting to very desperately fit into the fashion scene and be looking like a designer.
Yeah.
Oh, you are like the next this, you are like. Today, I'm so happy that no one can slot me.
Right.
And people say you are like a Payal Singhal. But nobody can say I am like anybody else.
Right.
Whether it's the work I do, whether it's the collabs I do, whether it's the way my attitude is to the business.
Yeah.
And that's why there is no fixed formula for growing your business.
Yeah.
You know, I may want to grow the business with outside money. I may want to grow the business with my own. I may not want to grow the business.
Yeah. You may want to. Yeah.
I may just want to be more profitable and not so much about turnover.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
It just depends. So, yeah, I've had those chats, and idea is right now a work in progress in my head.
Okay. Great. I want to talk to you about styling. So, we know that so many people wear PS and everybody is open to interpretation. There are no more rules. We've established that. We know all of that. But there are still some things that might irk you, right? Some things that like, if you like, oh God, fix this. Oh God, do that.
Which make you cringe.
Which make you cringe. So when we wear a PS outfit, what are your top 3 like cringe moments and you wish that people who wear you correct that?
Okay, so it's going to sound very basic, very basic.
Okay.
But sometimes I feel like going through Instagram and ironing the person's outfit.
Okay.
I don't know why, especially in the West, they just don't like to iron their clothes. And I am like dying 100 deaths. And my team knows this, Nirvan knows this. I'm like, I literally want to go through the Instagram.
They're wearing that whole dupatta and it's all crushed.
It's all crushed.
Oh,
the lehenga is crushed or whatever.
So, crushed clothing. Okay.
Crushed is pet peeve. Secondly, again, I know I'm so sorry, you know, being poised is something which comes to you, but clumsy wearing, clumsy like, you know, one pin out here and then the dupatta has fallen.
Yeah. That also I've seen more outside though. Here the safety pins don't show.
Yeah, here you have drapers.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but also I think people are more conscious of it. There, it's just like, oh my God, I have this really awesome outfit.
Like, listen, you know, here everybody's looking at each other. It's an occasion where in the West is so rare.
True.
So, you know, you don't know. And plus, it's a more of a Western culture in terms of everyday dressing. So, they're awkward with Indian clothes.
That's so right.
And the third pet peeve is bad styling.
Bad styling. Yes, talk to me more. Tell me, I want to know this. What do you mean bad styling?
Just like, I mean, again, you know, it's so sad because it's relative. So you asked me what bothers me about when people wear my clothes. So I'm just telling you the truth because, I mean, how much I love and you guys, when you all style it and I compliment you, that much and how happy it makes me feel. Like I feel like a proud mommy because my little baby has been
showing to the world.
In such a nice way. So
I get
the same opposite feeling will come when it's badly styled. No?
Yeah.
So like for example, you're wearing like a very cool fusion outfit and then you're wearing like a gajra and a, you know, like a
nose pin type of
whatever, like exactly. Or
then that off jewelry, I feel
mismatch. You're wearing suddenly like a maybe like a fancy designer bag.
Yeah.
It's just not the vibe of the bag. Like, you need a clutch or you need something.
Yeah.
Like, or you're wearing a crossbody. I don't know. Don't even ask. Okay. Like, the range is very wide.
It's very wide. No, because it's tricky. See, because your clothes are, they're very light in the make, but they're very high impact. I say this to anybody I talk to about your brand, and it's true because I feel that when I go for a destination wedding, at least 5 of my outfits are PS outfits. Like out of 5, at least 3 are PS outfits. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And that is because there's a reason. And then also I'm stopping myself like, every day, how can I wear PS? Every day, how can I wear PS? Like even though they're so different from each other, you know that you have that mental thing. Yeah. But the point of the matter is that when you style it, I would think that a lot of outfits don't even need styling.
Exactly.
Because they're already made like that.
Right. Our outfits are pretty self-styled.
Correct.
And as long as you go with just good hair and makeup, a cool bag and shoes,
it'll work.
you are fine.
So like trying too hard is not required. Where you're wearing a bag also, and
so actually that kills out.
That kills
out. Because even I have at events, 95% of the our celebrities and our content creators and all get the styling bang on. Even our customers, but that 5% when I'm cringing is because you're like overstyled it.
But
and I think overstyling is really the word.
Overstyling is, I agree. I agree with you because overstyling is like a little
it's not needed in a PR.
It's irky. And you're like, why? Just remove that and, actually Photoshop.
You're not one of those clean brands where you're just wearing like a kurta or something which you can.
And then you can do it. Right. But tell me, how do you, like for people who are starting out, for people who are watching this podcast, how do you get to the celebrities? Like, I understand great product. I understand all of that. Listen, that is required. That's your common denominator. But how is the correct way to reach a celebrity?
Okay, so I'm going to just tell you my journey because I mean, obviously, whatever anyone can take home from that, because there is nothing that I've been able to chalk out, and that would actually be something great to have a master class on it.
Yeah.
So when I came back from America, I had a unique situation. I had a brand which was about I came back in 2011, right?
Yeah.
So 10. So it was about 10 years old, the brand, about at 10 years old. And, but it needed to be like revamped.
Yeah.
Like it needed a new energy because it had again grown in the US, but then it had gone into a slump out here. So then, and the social media culture was just starting, celebrity dressing had just started.
Just about started.
We had seen it in the West. Like we knew the red carpets in the Oscars and all was being borrowed and loaned. But before that, I've had Sushmita Sen walk into my store in Juhu and buy outfits and walk out.
Okay.
So before that, before celebrity styling started, actors and actresses used to either come themselves and buy the clothes, or their producers would buy the clothes for them.
Okay. And then not return them. Then it was just yours.
They're buying it.
Oh, okay. Buy it outright.
Maximum with your relationship with the producer or the costume designer or the director of the film, you'll give a discount.
Okay.
And you're bulk buying, so you'll give a discount.
Right.
There was no loaning, none of that.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking about. So I have seen the celebrity styling and the
from
culture,
where it started, like
it went till I saw it in the US.
Yeah.
I came here. So I actually thought that I had a few friends who were actors, actresses, and in prominent places in life. So whenever they would need something to go to an Indian occasion, I actually offered it. I said, listen, why don't you wear it? Because I came from that learning and I brought that with me.
Yeah.
Of course, simultaneously, other people were also coming back. And no one person can start a movement.
Yeah.
But it started to happen organically also. So it just literally started with, I remember one of the first few actresses I dressed and I started working with was, of course, Shibani.
Yeah.
Because Shibani was my friend from New York.
And she's been your muse for like the longest.
Shibani was not even doing anything in India.
Yeah.
She was she was an anchor from Namaste America.
Right.
And she had no visibility in India, but I dressed her. Tanisha had done a few films, Tanisha Mukherjee. She's an old childhood friend. I dressed her. Then Maria was my first job.
Right.
Okay, so I dressed Maria. So it started with friends. Okay. And I don't have any family who's celebrities. So it started with friends. And one thing I started to realize, and that's how my relationship has built with so many, is that I did not like this hierarchy that I started to notice some other brands doing. That we will only dress A-list celebrities. Or we will only dress actresses or actors only for red carpet events.
Yeah.
These were the things I could hear flying around. And what I did was I kept a very open mind. As long as my garment was being respected, I was being talked about or being given credit, because in those days before social media, it was more like about verbally giving the credit.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you give it on Instagram or wherever.
Right.
And so it was a very egalitarian type of a platform of styling where we did not have any hierarchy. And I think that really resonated with a lot of young content creators, young celebrities and actors. I think if you ask a lot of people, the first designer to ever dress them is Payal Singhal.
Oh, wow.
Okay, in their career.
Amazing.
It's across the board. Like, I'll give you an example of, Deepika Mutiala.
Yeah.
She's a very big entrepreneur, beauty entrepreneur in America. She's done the Amex campaign. She's on the hoardings in Times Square. She has a brand called Tinted.
Right.
And I mean, when she was a young, upcoming, blogger and content creator for beauty in New York, the first 10-15 appearances she made was in PS.
In PS,
and
wow.
of course now she's got everybody from the top A-list
Yeah.
designers dressing her.
Right.
But she remembers that, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
narrating the story.
But I think a lot of people who get there first, like, you know how, like when I approached you for the show and you quickly just said yes. So you kind of floor them like that with that, you know, sort of, I guess that respect is the right
Yeah.
word, right? Where you feel
Yeah.
like this person is asked, it's coming from a good place, is going to go to a good place,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say no to them
Yeah.
for no other reason except that, you know,
Yeah.
that don't destroy my clothes.
I think
So-
for me, the reason why this relationship building worked, which was organic, and that's why when so many people come and ask my PR agency or store owners that, hey, create the same kind of events that you do for Payal Singhal.
Yeah.
They're like, but you have to put in those 20 years
Right.
of relationship building
Right.
and be generous with your time,
Comments
and, your
and
clothing
yeah, everything.
And forget that, like Nirvana and me actually even offline work with these people whenever they have issues in their businesses, careers, give
Yeah.
them guidance. I sit with bloggers, talk to them about how to build their brands online.
Yeah.
Like, this is just
But
for
this-
fun.
But that's
So,
it's gold for them. See, like that one word and I think that's why again the style circle is because not just because we are sitting and chatting for fun, but it's
Yeah.
because something from this conversation will move something in someone
yeah,
and then move
absolutely.
them, right? So that's
Absolutely.
the whole
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
But again, like coming back to the runway, I want to know that you know, there's a lot of good things happening, like body inclusivity,
Yeah.
and you know, there's no more talk about skin color being
Yeah.
or whatever. But there is a underlining sort of, I don't know how to say it, like not a movement, but there's still an unsaid sort of a factor where it's like, yeah, we should have a few
Yeah.
to get the right mix.
Yeah.
What is your feeling on that? Because I feel like sometimes it comes across a little fake,
Yeah.
a little trying too hard, and sometimes it's genuinely happening, like genuinely the brand believes in it,
Yeah.
right? So like, what is your take on it?
I will never see. I consider Payal Singhal, the brand, and me as a person,
Yeah.
as authentic as it can get.
Mhm.
You know, we've just been honest throughout. We're very transparent in every transaction. So similarly with this, if I was not using plus size girls and transgender girls and whatever
Yeah.
in my shows before, I ain't doing it now to tick any boxes.
Okay.
And we've had people who've been transgender walk for us as part of the Fashion Week model pool. Great. We've had a girl who's been maybe a plus size walk as part of the pool. Great. But I ain't going out and trying to tick those boxes
Right.
for an Asian and an African and
So you're not sorting them out. They are coming
if
to
they're
you.
there,
Or they're,
I'm never going to say I don't want this girl.
yeah.
I cringe in so many fittings
Yeah.
when I have choreographers tell the models like, no, she's too big, move her. That's not me.
That-
you know that.
that irritates you,
I
yeah.
can't talk like that. That is not how
Yeah.
I think. And I don't need to prove to anybody my brand is inclusive. It's been inclusive from its birth and
Right.
its inception.
Right.
So these are things that people are tom-tomming about because they have a point to prove. I don't.
But I mean,
You
on
know?
the runway, see, because like
But even on the runway,
you're on the run.
if you look at the audience, you can see the proof is in the brand. You have
Right.
everybody from 60, 70-year-old ladies of South Bombay to your young content creators,
Right.
you know, from all over India and from the smallest villages to all over the world coming
Yeah.
in. And it's like this, almost like I'm a New Yorker, I'm from Bombay.
Right.
So my brand is like that. It's a melting pot
Pot,
already.
right. You
I
have
don't need
already
to prove
yeah.
that. We've had shows where we've had, like, we did a show with Korkal where
Mhm.
we had like 5 influencers from all over the world walk for us and 5 real women
Mhm.
that had won some contest with Korkal, and they were of all shapes and sizes. We recently, I think November 23, we did a fashion show, Fashion in Motion, where I brought in all the old models to
Oh,
walk
nice.
who have walked for my dad also
Oh,
in
wow.
his shows.
Right.
I mean, some of them are moms, most of them are my age,
Yeah.
and they are not size 0 anymore.
Yeah.
And they told me, they're like, I will love the fact that you had clothes in the show that we
Right.
could wear without an alteration.
Yeah.
I didn't make anything specially for them.
Yeah.
And it's what I'm trying to tell you is I cannot contrive it. So the minute someone tells me that put this in for representation, you aren't getting my yes, you know.
Okay.
But if it's happening to me, like I'm dressing everybody in
Yeah.
real life. I have
Right.
not said no to anybody. And
I
if
mean,
you
there's
can't-
nobody left actually
yeah.
because everybody
if
is.
so storytelling is not happening right there
Yeah.
from real people to, and even in terms of so-called people who have influence or create
Yeah.
content, I have not only stuck to actors and actresses and
Yeah.
content creators.
Yeah.
We are singers, musicians.
Mhm.
I have people who, we have had Pilates instructors. Yasmin wears our clothes. Namrata wears our clothes.
Yeah.
We have had Anushka Shankar wears my clothes. Like,
Right.
it's
gotten, everybody's been covered.
I have doctors. I have Sophia Visanji, who's a content creator in New York, but she's a doctor.
Yeah.
I love that. That
Right.
is the true brand.
That's the true brand. I agree with that. I completely agree. I think I want to conclude with just asking you that, I can't even ask you what's next, because before I ask you, it's already there. So what I want to say is that what would you like to leave us with? Like something that you want to tell the Style Circle, some the potential viewers, and maybe, I don't know, tips and tricks or mantras or something that you feel that this will always, like if you watch this now 20 years later, you'll be like, yes, this is still what I stick by. Like, what are those things?
So here's what I'm gonna say. I feel like I've always been extremely motivated and inspired and all that. But I was kind of finding myself as a person, and maybe because of a little innocent and naive growing up, and very protected in life and in the fashion business by my parents, it took me a little longer to grow up. But today I can truly tell you that I found myself. I love what I do. I completely own it. And if you thought that you couldn't keep up with what Payal Singhal does till today, you know what? Put on your seatbelt, because you have no idea. I've just found myself.
Amazing.
And there is so much more to come. I'm bursting with energy. There are so many things that are going wrong, but in spite of it, in the midst of it, like a lotus, I am feeling the most inspired I have in my entire life. Maybe because I feel time is running out. I don't know what it is about it now. I feel like the next 10 years is going to be the best 10 years of my business and my career. And I can't wait. I can't wait to do everything I haven't done yet. And come up with things
that
no
list gets smaller and smaller, but that's amazing. Like, I think that's such a positive, positive way to look at things, because you have so much going on, and everybody does, like personally and professionally and all of that. But it just means that you love it so much to, be excited for the next 10 also.
And not looking as a creative person and as a creator, you'll see this. You'll see artists across the world, whether it's in acting or in actual art, painting, any creative person, whatever. Like, I feel like you never want to stop working. Like, look at Amitabh Bachchan, right? I mean, look at the work he's doing or whatever. Or like some of our artists who are so old and they're doing such brilliant work. I just feel like and also I want to tell women, I don't know what is wrong with y'all. The best phase of my life is starting now.
With your women's leadership circle?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we almost forgot about it. The Women's Leadership Circle is like literally this new community that you guys are building, and it's primarily in Mumbai right now. Does it have a chapter anywhere else?
No, we launched in Mumbai.
It's only in Mumbai.
Only a year old, and
you're the PR marketing head of this circle. I mean, I think it's apt. I mean,
it's basically Women's Leadership Circle is Circle. Women's Leadership Circle is kind of a community we're building for women who are women entrepreneurs and CEOs who we want to help to upskill, inspire, get more women representation into boardrooms. And for that, I'm joined them as a founder member because I really believe it's a Section 8 company. So it's not for profit and it's all volunteer work. So it's my way of giving back to the community in terms of my experience and my knowledge. And I'm gaining from them. So the reason for feeling this inspired and feeling is women's leadership.
Being surrounded by people who have that also.
Like I moved my perspective from being in the room where I think I was getting all the gyan to where I'm like
receiving it also.
Who's like learning and excited to go to school every day almost. I don't ever miss a meeting. That's how nerdy I am.
Right.
And so I want to tell women that, like, I don't know why people are so afraid of aging. It's like the best phase of your life. You have more money, you know your makeup better, you know how your body works better, you know how to speak, you can travel the world with confidence, you know what friendships work, what don't, you know what you want, and you know how to be happy. So why are we sad that we're growing up? I think we should be happy.
We should be happy. On that happy note, I think this circle is now complete, and I'm so happy that you took out the time. I don't feel like this is ending. You know, I just feel like we're going to get up and then start this conversation somewhere else,
Exactly.
which I love.
As soon as the camera closes, we'll continue. So
I have BTS for that. But thank you so much. Thanks again for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
Of course.
And good luck with the Style Circle.
Thank you.
I mean, it's as important to me as it is to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.